Here I am. Santa Cruz Republicans are doing this event. There's a couple people that are running for election in the recall. I capture the moment. Really cool spot.
Lord, we thank you for this beautiful day and for all the helping hands that made this event possible. As we come together, we want to pray for our country and for our leaders who protect and for those who protect and serve. Most of all, we pray for your wisdom and integrity in our leaders. Bless each one who has come today, and may God show their favor upon this country and this state as we strive to keep the values and the integrity of our Constitution. We pray for those, especially those that are here today. And we thank you that you are willing to stand in the gap and take time out of your lives and time from your family to serve your community. We also ask for the safety of those and protection for those men and women who are working on that condominium in Florida. We pray for lives to be saved and comfort those who have lost loved ones. In all this, we
work in our schools as our state grows. Population growth, as an economist, population growth is the #1 driver of economic growth. And we need to ensure that when we grow 6%, we grow our housing to match. And that's what other states like Florida and Texas have done much better than we have. So the second thing is work. We need to celebrate businesses in our state. We had 12 businesses that IPO'd in California last year. Did you know that? We should be yelling about it. It was the highest number of any state in the country. And good, we're bigger, fine, it should be higher. But this was Airbnb and DoorDash. Do you want them to build in Miami or Texas in the future? Because I don't. I want them to build here. And I want them to succeed here. And I want to talk to them to understand what will help them do that. Because we're not far away from those businesses saying, honestly, Texas is the same as Silicon Valley. And we're not there yet, but we will be in just a couple of years. We need better fee structures. We have 16 times the fee to register a business in California. It's $800, the highest in the country. And if you're running 6 LLCs, that actually starts to add up a little bit. And if you're running a real estate business where you incorporate everything in an LLC, $2.50 in Tennessee might look better to you. So it's really important that we just understand how to align those fees to get better services. And the same thing for business taxes. Our business taxes can and should be in the future the lowest in the country. But today, we just need them to not be the worst. Right? Because people have other reasons that they live in California today, and we have to address what we're spending before we just wipe out all of our revenue from the state level. The final thing is breathe. We have to make sure that we think about the future of California, and everyone in a 2 or a 4-year term that tries to get reelected doesn't always think like this. But we have 3 managed resources that we share that affect all of us: forests, water, and power. And I want to talk about each of those really briefly. In California last year, we managed under 40,000 acres of our forests. Florida, which is different than California, but better in some ways, 2.3 million acres. They controlled burn using a burn permit that was managed by the state. And you want to know how many acres we burned last year in uncontrolled burning? 4.1 million acres. But But we didn't just burn forests, we burned homes, toxic waste, we burned gas stations and things that we shouldn't be burning in the process of doing that. So we can do better. We actually furlough our firefighters for almost 5 months every year. There are other states that keep them on and continue to do training and controlled management of the forests. The second is water. The last time we built a new water system in California was 42 years ago. We had half the population that we have now. And our population only uses 10% of our water. Our farmers use 40%. Who gets the rest of it? The fish. We flush fish and keep water temperatures low by flushing the water out to the ocean. In fact, we've used almost a third of our dam reservoirs this year for fish, while offering 0% to farmers that bought their rights as early as 1914. That is an injustice that has to stop, and if you didn't know it before today, one of the things that we have to do is make sure that people know what the hell is happening. When you go to a restaurant, order all the water you want. It does not make any difference. Okay? Because collectively, all 40 million of us only use 10% of our water. So if you save that one glass of water, it doesn't do anything. But Governor Newsom tomorrow could turn on the pumps in the Delta and fill our reservoirs with water that is recaptured after flushing fish out. You have to ask yourself, why are 0% of the federal pumps on, and why are only 8% of the California pumps on? We need to understand the roots behind these things, and he could do something about it. The final thing is power. Does it make sense to decommission power while you require more power? No, it does not. Governor Newsom said 2 weeks ago that rolling brownouts are the future of California. Have you ever been to a country where rolling brownouts are a thing? I have. You know what their interest rates are? 15% to 18% to buy a house, right? Because they're low-grade investments. They're risky because you need power to build airplanes, and you need to manufacture, and you need to run your homes, and you need to run your schools. You need power for everything. And we don't have a sensible, long-range approach to power in our state. In fact, we're also decommissioning hydroelectric power. Do you know why? It's not renewable. But you know what it is? It's clean. It's there. It's cheap. It's everything that power should be, but it just didn't fall into the right classification. Right? So all of these things, live, work, and breathe, is what I believe we need for the future of our states. Now, the final thing is how do we do this? Well, we don't have a strong operation in the ground in California for the conservative, the Republican, and honestly just the middle of the common sense group of people that are here. So we need you guys to help. We need you to follow along, tell your neighbors, share your stories, and to just be a little bit braver than we have been before. And we don't have to be angry brave, although you can be angry brave, but we can just be courageous brave, right? Which is where we say, are you okay with a future that looks like this? I'm not, and I'm doing something about it in a different direction. So ultimately, we have a really fun process ahead of us. My job is to travel the state, to share the hope of a better future in California, to nail Gavin Newsom every time he lies to our faces about what is actually happening in the state, and to not make this even a Republican or a Democrat thing, but a mom thing, a farmer thing, a human thing. And with that, I believe that with the grassroots momentum we are seeing, we are having, we are hearing, that not only is California rising up, but the nation is coming to our we are seeing that people believe that for the first time this is possible here. And I just want to leave you with a couple of statistics. One of the things that you can do is donate. And I mentioned before, how many of you have donated to somebody that's going against Newsom? Well, Newsom has raised $50 million for his re-election, his continued election. That $50 million will dominate our airwaves unless we can raise against it. And I just want to give you a kind of important statistic. In the United States, in the last election, there were twice as many numerical individual donors that donated to Democrats as that donated to Republicans. The two parties raised almost the same amount of money, and the average was higher for Republicans. And that makes sense. We have a lot of really successful business people that understand common sense policies. But what that means is that each person that gave $5 to a Democratic candidate then usually gives something else too. They share a story, or they walk a precinct, or they do something else. And we have to understand that if we're going to win, if everyone who voted in that petition that signed to recall Newsom gave $100, we would have $200 million to mobilize against him. So I'm going to encourage you today, if you haven't given to anybody, give to somebody. Give $100 or $1,000 or $10,000, but give something and see what they do with it, and check in a month and see how everything is going. Because your donations matter. Trump's donations from the small dollar donors correlated to his win. It was an army of those that powered him into office. And the final thing that you can do is you can volunteer. And this is something that we can't make assumptions about. In fact, I'm discovering that Democrats are really good at mobilizing. 90% of the poll workers in our last election were Democrats. If you want free and fair elections, we need more people that show up on election day from all parties. And we need to make sure that we have not just poll workers, but poll watchers. We have precinct walkers, we have phone bankers. And if you have an hour or 10 hours a week that you can and will volunteer, I'll tell you what you'll hear. You'll hear that people are tired of losing and they want to know what to do next. And you can be a part of that change here. So thank you so much for the time to share. I'm excited about the future of California, and I hope that you'll join us on the journey.